When people look at success, they often assume it is about being the smartest or most talented. I know this well, because for most of my life, I was not the smartest person in the room. Many people around me had better grades, more knowledge, or natural ability. And yet somehow I kept moving forward. The reason is simple. Effort outlasts talent. Talent may shine for a moment, but it fades without action. Hard work compounds day after day, while talent alone can stagnate if it isn't used wisely. I remember the early days when everyone told me my ideas were impossible. They said, "Jack, you don't have the talent to do this." And at that time, they were probably right in the short term. But I learned that persistence is quiet power. It does not need applause or recognition. Showing up consistently, learning from mistakes, and pushing through every small obstacle slowly creates momentum. While talented people rested on their ability, effort kept building the foundation I needed. This is the secret most people never see. Effort opens doors that talent cannot even reach. It doesn't matter where you start or how naturally gifted you are. What matters is who is willing to show up again and again when no one is watching. Small, repeated actions build results that no raw ability can match. I've seen countless examples in life where talented individuals burn out early, while those who simply worked harder eventually lead industries, innovate solutions, and create lasting impact. The world only remembers doers, not talkers. Talent might get attention for a moment, but it is effort that builds empires. You do not need to be born brilliant. You need to be relentless. Every step you take, every hour you commit, compounds into something far bigger than what talent alone could ever achieve. This is the quiet advantage, the invisible work, the long-term secret to beating those who rely solely on natural ability. I have always been fascinated by people who are called geniuses. Their ideas are brilliant, their minds quick, their talent obvious to everyone around them, and yet I have seen too many of these geniuses fail. Why? Because genius without discipline is like a car without fuel. It looks powerful, but it goes nowhere. Ideas alone are fragile. Without daily effort, focus, and structure, even the brightest minds can fade into obscurity. Discipline transforms potential into results. It is the invisible engine that turns thought into action, and action into progress. I remember meeting people with amazing abilities who never seemed to move forward. They could solve problems instantly, understand complex systems easily, yet their achievements were limited. Why? Because their brilliance made them impatient. They waited for inspiration, got distracted, or assumed talent would carry them through. Hard work, when applied consistently, is far more reliable. Showing up every day, even when tired or unsure, creates momentum that talent alone cannot match. This is the quiet, relentless power of discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It is not about one big idea or a moment of inspiration. It is the daily commitment to do what others will not. It is writing the emails, making the calls, refining the process, learning from mistakes, and showing up when no one else notices. It is uncomfortable, repetitive, and sometimes invisible, but it compounds over time. That is why people who work diligently and consistently almost always surpass those who rely on talent alone. I have seen this pattern in my own life. I was never the smartest, never the most naturally gifted, but I showed up every day. I studied, I learned, I tried again after failure. Talent might give you a head start, but discipline keeps you in the race when talent falters. Genius is fragile, but effort backed by discipline is unstoppable. That is why hard work consistently beats raw talent, no matter how brilliant it seems at first. One of the most important lessons I learned early in life is that natural skill can make you comfortable, but comfort is dangerous. When you rely solely on your talent, you stop learning. You assume you know enough. You avoid challenges. And slowly, you plateau. I was never the most talented person in school or in business, but I made a habit of learning from every failure, every rejection, and every mistake. Hard work forces you to learn, adjust, and improve, and that continuous learning always beats raw ability. I remember my earliest failures vividly. Every time something didn't work, I felt the urge to quit, to blame circumstances, or to give up. But discipline taught me to ask, what can I learn from this? Each setback became a lesson. Talent might make a task easier, but it cannot teach you resilience, problem-solving, or adaptability. Effort exposes you to reality repeatedly, and reality is the best teacher of all. Every day I pushed, tried new approaches, refined my ideas, and studied what worked and what didn't. That repetition, that curiosity, that willingness to keep learning created an advantage talent alone could never produce. The contrast is clear. Skilled people often become trapped in their own comfort zones. They rely on their gift to carry them, and when it fails, they are shocked and unprepared. Hard workers, however, constantly evolve. They adapt, improve, and become stronger precisely because they face challenges head on. Learning through action beats natural ability every time. Over time, even small daily improvements compound into extraordinary results. I have seen countless talented individuals stall, while those willing to work and learn quietly surpass them. Talent opens a door, but learning builds the house behind it. Skill without effort is fragile. Effort without talent can grow into unstoppable momentum. This is why hard work beats talent. It teaches, shapes, and strengthens you in ways raw ability never can. Talent can make you confident, but confidence without control is dangerous. I have seen many brilliant people fail not because they lacked skill, but because they could not manage their emotions. Anger, frustration, pride, and impatience can destroy opportunities faster than lack of ability ever could. Hard work teaches you emotional control because it forces you to face setbacks daily and still keep moving forward. Discipline trains you to respond, not react, to life's challenges. This is the hidden advantage that talent alone cannot provide. When I started Alibaba, I faced countless moments where failure seemed inevitable. Deals fell through, partners left, and investors doubted me. If I had relied on talent alone, I might have panicked or made rash decisions. But the habit of showing up every day, learning from mistakes, and patiently executing my plans taught me to pause and think before reacting. Hard work built an inner strength that allowed me to stay calm under pressure. This emotional stability turned chaotic situations into opportunities and made others trust me, even when circumstances were difficult. Emotional control also separates winners from those who falter under pressure. Talent might shine when conditions are perfect, but life rarely gives perfect conditions. Discipline and persistence create a shield against disappointment, rejection, and criticism. Hard-working people learn to focus on what they can control rather than wasting energy on what they cannot. This patience and steadiness compound over time, creating consistent results where talent alone might fail. In essence, hard work is training not just the body or mind, but also your emotional resilience. Talent can give you moments of brilliance, but effort builds endurance, focus, and reliability. Leaders are remembered not for flashes of skill, but for their ability to endure, adapt, and act consistently despite emotional challenges. That is why hard work always beats talent in the long run. It creates a foundation talent alone cannot support. Winners versus complainers. One thing I noticed early in my journey is that talent often breeds arrogance, while effort humbles you. People with natural ability can become easily frustrated when results don't come instantly. They blame circumstances, systems, or even other people for their failures. Hardworking individuals, however, learn to take responsibility. They understand that progress is built on action, not excuses. Over time, this creates a clear division: winners who build and learn, and talkers who stagnate. I saw this in my own life. Many talented people around me had incredible ideas, yet they never acted consistently. They complained when a client said no, or when a partner disagreed, or when the market shifted. Meanwhile, people willing to put in the daily grind quietly moved ahead. They were not the most brilliant in the room, but their persistence, accountability, and refusal to quit gave them an advantage talent could not match. Hard work forced them to confront reality, adapt, and improve, while talent alone often avoided the uncomfortable truths. Winners focus on what they can control. Complainers focus on what they cannot. This mindset separation is subtle at first, but over years, it becomes stark. Talent can get attention for a moment, but effort builds legacy. Hard work teaches you humility, responsibility, and self-mastery, qualities that attract trust, loyalty, and opportunity. Talent can open a door, but discipline, persistence, and accountability ensure you stay in the room long enough to make an impact. I have learned that life consistently rewards those who act, learn, and endure. Talent is an advantage only if paired with hard work. Those who rely solely on ability often fade as circumstances test their character. Effort humbles you, shapes you, and ultimately separates winners from complainers. The world only remembers doers, and doers are those who never stop, even when talent alone might give them reason to rest. Rejection is training. I have been rejected more times than I can count, and each rejection was like a test of my resolve. Talent can make you confident, but it also creates expectation. If you rely solely on natural ability, being ignored or turned down feels like failure. Hard work, however, teaches you to endure rejection and turn it into preparation. Every no becomes feedback, guiding your next action instead of stopping you in your tracks. Effort thrives on challenge, while talent often crumbles under the same pressure. I remember applying to jobs and partnerships in the early days. I was laughed at, turned away, and told my ideas would never work. Many people with natural skill might have quit, thinking I am talented, this should be easy. But I realized that rejection was not the enemy, it was the teacher. Each setback forced me to improve my approach, refine my strategy, and learn more about the market and people. This mindset hardened me for the challenges ahead. Hard work builds resilience. It trains you to keep moving even when the world ignores your efforts. Talent alone expects validation. Effort persists without it. Those who rise above are not always the smartest or most gifted. They are the most persistent, the ones willing to embrace failure as part of the process. Rejection becomes a stepping stone, not a roadblock. It is a filter that separates those who quit from those who endure. Over time, I realized this principle applied everywhere. Every investor who said no, every partner who doubted me, every obstacle that appeared was preparing me for the next level. Talent can give you a head start, but only effort can carry you through the inevitable no's that life delivers. Hard work turns rejection into opportunity, and that is why it always beats talent in the long run. The Edison example, everyone knows the story of Thomas Edison failing thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. People often celebrate the failures, but few understand the discipline behind them. Each attempt was a structured effort, a deliberate experiment, not just luck or brilliance. Edison did not rely on natural talent alone. He showed up every day, measured his results, learned and tried again. Talent might give you ideas, but hard work turns those ideas into reality. That persistence transformed repeated failure into unstoppable momentum. When I think of Edison, I see a man who embraced effort over inherent ability. Talent can create inspiration for a moment, but it often falters when repeated action is required. Edison's work was exhausting, lonely, and often invisible to the public. Yet every day he invested effort, honed his process, and improved upon previous mistakes. Hard work created results that raw genius alone could not achieve. The world remembers him not because he was the smartest, but because he refused to stop. This story mirrors what I have experienced in business. Many people have great ideas, but when faced with repeated failure, they quit. They assume talent should carry them, but effort transforms every setback into data, every mistake into strategy. Edison's life proves the truth. Hard work always beats talent when results matter. Discipline converts repeated failure into eventual success. It is not the flash of brilliance, but the quiet, relentless repetition that builds lasting impact. Edison teaches a simple yet profound lesson. Never underestimate the power of showing up, learning, and working when no one is watching. Talent alone cannot withstand the grind, the boredom, or the repeated no-s effort combined with persistence ensures that failure is temporary and success inevitable. That is why in every empire and every achievement, hard work will always outrun raw ability. Cutting the noise, one of the hardest lessons I learned, is that talent craves approval, while effort seeks results. Talented people often get distracted by praise, envy, or criticism. They measure themselves against others instead of focusing on their own work. Hardworking individuals, on the other hand, learn to ignore the noise around them. They protect their attention, their energy, and their focus. Discipline teaches you that silence is not loneliness, it is power. In the early days of Alibaba, I noticed how easy it was to get caught up in what others thought. People would question my ideas, ridicule my strategies, and sometimes even discourage me. A naturally talented person might have let these voices derail them, feeling validation was required to move forward. But I realized that progress is created in the space between effort and attention. The quieter I became, the more I could concentrate on building, learning, and executing. Each hour spent on action created momentum that talent alone could never sustain. Cutting out the noise is also about emotional survival. When you stop explaining your vision to everyone or seeking approval from others, your energy multiplies. Hard work becomes unstoppable because it is not dependent on outside validation. Talent often talks loudly and seeks applause, but effort quietly builds results. Over time, those who focus on their work and not the opinions of others move further, faster, and with more consistency than those relying on raw ability. The lesson is simple. Focus and discipline amplify effort. Protect your time, avoid distractions, and act in silence. The hardest workers build quietly, while talent can get lost in comparison or recognition. Your results will speak for themselves, and eventually, the world will notice. Effort beats talent because it is persistent, unwavering, and unshaken by noise. That is why focusing on what truly matters is one of the most powerful advantages a person can develop. Action. Before passion, many people make the mistake of waiting to feel ready, waiting to be inspired, or relying on talent to carry them forward. I have seen brilliant individuals stall because they assumed passion or ability would automatically deliver results. The truth is, the opposite. Action comes first, and passion follows. Hard work trains the mind, builds confidence, and creates momentum that talent alone cannot provide. Discipline forces movement before motivation, and that movement eventually fuels passion. In my early days, there were moments when I felt tired, uncertain, or even afraid that I wasn't capable. Talent alone would have made me hesitate, but action became my teacher. Every phone call, every meeting, every small task I completed built forward motion. Over time, this consistency developed not only results, but also belief in myself and my vision. Passion was not the starting point. It was the reward of doing, learning, and persisting. Talent without action is wasted potential. A brilliant idea or a natural skill cannot grow unless it is executed repeatedly, consistently, and intelligently. Hard work is what bridges the gap between possibility and reality. Every day you choose to act, even when inspiration is absent, you are training yourself to succeed. Momentum compounds quietly, and those who keep moving eventually surpass the naturally gifted who wait for the right moment. This is the paradox many people fail to understand. Passion follows progress, not the other way around. Action creates results, results create confidence, and confidence ignites passion. Hard work is not just about effort, it is about building the unstoppable energy that allows ordinary people to outlast and outperform those who rely solely on talent. That is why action before passion is one of the most important truths in any journey toward lasting success. Success is a choice. Daily talent gives you a head start in life, but hard work is a choice you make every single day. I have learned that every morning presents a decision to act or to rest, to improve or to stay comfortable. Most people choose comfort and call it balance, believing that talent alone will carry them. But empires are not built on talent alone. They are built on thousands of small, disciplined choices repeated consistently. Every day you show up, learn, push through challenges, and refuse to quit, you are building something larger than yourself. I remember the early days of Alibaba, when the path forward was unclear and the world seemed full of obstacles. There were no shortcuts, no guarantees, and no applause for effort alone. Talent could have given me hope, but only effort delivered results. Each day, the choice to work hard compounded into progress, momentum, and eventually success. It is this daily commitment, even when invisible, that separates those who achieve from those who only dream. Hard work beats talent because effort never stops. Talent can rest, become complacent, or wait for validation. Effort keeps moving forward. Even when the odds are against you, even when no one notices, and even when it feels like failure is inevitable. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to the larger picture. Discipline, persistence, and daily choices are the quiet engines of achievement. Ultimately, success is a series of decisions, not a moment of brilliance. Talent may give you an initial advantage, but it cannot outpace effort that is deliberate, consistent, and relentless. Every empire, every innovation, every legacy has been built by people who refused to wait for talent to save them. They chose action every day. And that is why, in the long run, hard work always beats talent.